Hello YouTube, this is Travis Dunn with MDL, and this is my vlog for April 24th, 2016. So it's been a bit of a crazy week. A lot of things have been going on. We've had some really notable deaths, famous deaths this week. One of them being Prince, well known for his his music and whatnot. I can't say I was a particular fan, but I also respected what he did and his contributions to music, and certainly there's a lot of fans out there, and there's been a lot of tributes and things, and even movie theaters. There was a movie sort of based around one of his songs, and one of the local movie theaters is going to replay that particular movie, I believe, this weekend. And and he died kind of a semi-young age. It was 57. We still don't quite know what's going on with that yet. There was an autopsy done. We're still waiting to hear what the results of that is. And then the other one was Chyna, WWE superstar, which really during the time that she was considered WWF, even though everybody tries to forget that it was ever called WWF. And I really, really liked Chyna for what she represented, and she was one of the few wrestling divas that really she took on the man. I mean, she wrestled men. There was a lot of the women wrestlers at that time that didn't want to wrestle her because of her physique, she died. She was only 46. Again, we still don't know what exactly she died from, but she had battled drug abuse and things over the years. So, who knows what exactly may have happened in that situation. But yeah, it's really crazy to think of all the, and I've talked about a few on my vlog, a lot of famous deaths, and I saw an article talking about how many famous people have died so far this year, and the number is way higher than previous years. And then one a little more, eye itches. One a little more closer to home. Former OSU player Will Smith was 28. He was killed in a shooting. We believe it was some form of road rage. I believe he tried to confront somebody and they shot him. I think that's the story, but we're still waiting for the full report on exactly what happened. And I haven't been really keeping up with it, but that's what I heard as of the last news report that I read. But it's just insane. It's insane to think, all the death and destruction seems like it's been going on lately. And then just the other day, we not too far from my hometown in Pike County, 8 people have been found dead in 4 different homes, and I believe, if the report is right, they may all be related, may all be family members. So that's a very strange occurrence. Obviously, they don't have anybody in custody yet. They're interviewing a lot of people for it. So moving on, something a little more up to beat. Graduation's coming up here in the next few weeks, and I have 2 important ones this year. One is my niece, my brother's daughter, is graduating here at the end of the month, well, end of next month. And and that girl, she's really worked hard. She's going for some type of design in college. I think she's already signed up, or she's already good to go. And and like I said, she's really worked hard to get where she is, and she's kept really great grades, and like I said, really worked hard. It makes you really feel old, because I remember how little she was when I first met her, and just to think now that she's graduating, it's just, it's just absolutely crazy. And then the other one happens to be my other niece, Tiffany. And we actually go on Monday to deal with her custody issue. Hopefully that will all be settled on Monday. Obviously, I'll vlog about that after the fact, and the details. But at least as of right now, everything appears that she will get to graduate, at least from her school. She will not get to go through her graduation for her nursing that she was taking at the technical school. There's just nothing we could do there. And unfortunately, I think even before she come to stay with us, it was already pretty well too late because of the circumstances. And like I said, I'll talk a little more about that later after everything is settled. And for me, graduation is a bit, I want to call it a bit of a sore subject, but it's not. But, I was somebody who got screwed out of his graduation, and screwed in such a way that I had a particular teacher who I embarrassed a bit my senior year, and on multiple occasions, and in fact got them in trouble at one point. And they made sure that I didn't graduate, that I wasn't going to graduate. And I was dealing with a lot my senior year, to be honest. I had a really close friend pass away in a car accident, and I let a lot of things get to me, and I shouldn't have. I look back now, and I should have sucked it up. I should have, powered through it, made sure that I had all my ducks in a row so that I could graduate from my senior class. So yeah, that was it's something that I still think about from time to time, and it's something that weighs a bit on me, not being able to go through that experience. And now it's it's one of those things you can't take back. You get one chance to have that experience, and I had that experience taken from me. So but I'm glad that both my nieces are getting to experience it. They're both, hopefully, like I said, Tiffany should get to graduate based on where we're at now. And we're hoping she'll continue on, and I think she's pretty well decided she's going to stay in nursing, and we're going to try to get her signed up in some type of courses so she can go ahead and get her first steps into the nursing program. So now it's unfortunately for me, though, this graduation is gonna be a rough week coming into that first graduation. The person that works opposite of me took the week leading up to the first graduation, and I got a gut feeling I'm going to work a whole bunch of days straight so I can have that Friday and Saturday off, so I can go to my niece's the first graduation. And I'm not real happy about it. I'm the one that has to cover when that person's off, but when I'm off, that person doesn't seem to cover my shift to work, the ridiculous hours that I end up having to work every time he's on vacation. I'll talk a little bit more about that maybe after it happens, and how that ends up planning out. So I mentioned last week that I got a GoPro, and I've been taking some of my first video with it, and really liking the video. I'll show a little skit of video here.
Let's go left on the next light.
Now, that video was taken from last weekend. I mentioned I was riding with my stepdad. We did get to go ride, and it was a great ride. We definitely got to have some fun. We went out, stopped at a little roadside diner. It was a little hole-in-the-wall town, and stopped and had lunch, and had a good lunch, and got some wind therapy in. It was great. I really appreciated getting a chance to spend some time with him, and then obviously I got to ride his bike a little bit, and I was surprised that I didn't hate the handlebars I don't hate the handlebars. I thought they were okay. They weren't my style of handlebars, but they were, kind of a mini ape hanger, and it's not my, like I said, not my style. But I was actually surprised how well it rode with those particular bars. I thought it would be a little weird as far as the handling was concerned, and it did all right. I was kind of surprised. Um, and for the most part, it's a pretty nice bike. It's a, they call it like a root beer base, and then it's got this really high metallic in it. And even my stepdad said that the person he bought it from said the paint was really, really expensive. And considering the large metal flake in it, I can imagine it probably is expensive. I would say my only complaints about the bike, like they kind of painted everything. They painted the frame, they painted the engine, and I think they went a little too overboard with paint. Should have painted the tins, left the frame black, and left the motor alone, and either blacked it out or chromed it out. And certainly, everybody has their own choice as far as how they want their bike to look like and whatnot. But the paint's obviously not sticking very well to the engine and the transmission and all that. It's kind of hard to get paint to stick. Normally, to do a motor like that, you got to powder coat it. That's really about your only true choice if you want it to stick and last, because getting it to stick in all the crevices is very difficult, and there are some places where that issue is starting to show. And the front end's kind of interesting. It's a Sportster bike, but it's got a Dyna front end on it, so it's got a big tree front end, and it actually makes the bike pretty comfortable from the front end. It's got nice travel. The shocks are obviously a lot newer than mine, and that's something I actually want to work on. At least I'd like to change the fork oil. I don't have any problem with the seals. I just think I need some fresh fluid, and maybe put just a smidge more fluid in it so it's a little more dampened. And that's something I think I'll be doing in the near future. One thing I absolutely got to do is I have to get a windshield for that bike. I was literally like, I referred to it as I was like going through an asteroid field. And it was like big bugs. It wasn't little bugs. I've had little bugs before. But it's like the whole ride, it was just big bugs. I was doing this number sometimes. And yeah, a windshield is definitely coming. I'm a little overspent right now with some different things. Obviously, buying the GoPro was an extra expense, and I've had some more expenses with the wife's car. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then I've been working on the outside in the yard, trying to get all that beautified and make it look nice and things. So the wife's car, I have to talk about that. Been running fine. Everything that I've been working on has been working really good, but the back brakes have been squealing really, really bad. And to be honest, on and off, they have squealed pretty much the entire time we've owned it. And I kind of knew it was just probably, needed some grease in some places that that was just creating the wrong type of friction, which was making it squeal. And obviously, I did last fall. I did the front pads and the rotors and all that. And I had the shoe. I'd already bought the shoes. I already bought the hardware kit for the rear drums, and I just hadn't got around to doing it. And to be honest, I hate doing drums. They're a pain in the ass. They're not hard to do. They're getting things right, and there are certain things that just don't want to go together. And so I took the driver or the passenger side apart, pulled the drum, pulled the shoes off. Everything was looking good. It was fairly clean. The pads had pretty well worn out, but they weren't metal to metal contact. So the inside of the drum was good, so I could reuse the drums. They were nice and smooth, nothing wrong there. And then I opened up the box that I've had for about 6 or 8 months now, and I found a little baggie of brass pins. It's like, this is kind of weird, because normally the emergency brake lever is attached to one of the brake shoes, and then when you pull on the brake cable, it pushes on the shoes and pushes them out. But anyway, so ultimately the pin that normally rides on wasn't pre-installed, and I've never had one not be pre-installed. It's kind of very, very strange. But I tried to do it on my vise. I totally screwed up the pin. Had to call up the auto parts store, and in fact, I made sure to ask, said, I know it's going to sound strange. Could you please look at it? There's a brass pin in the one bottom corner of the shoe. I need to make sure that it's installed. I said I have a brand new set of pads here that I can't use because I've ruined the pin because they didn't pre-install them on the set that I purchased. I said, but they're too old and I can't take them back. So he checked it. He said, yeah, if it's the pin I think you're talking about, it's installed. So I hop on the bike, thinking to save the bike because the wife had my car. I rode to the auto parts store, got the shoes. Sure enough, I checked them. They had the pin that I needed. Took it back, got everything on the passenger side together, put it together, bled it. It was good. So I go over on the driver's side, and I know this is a long-winded story. So I go over on the driver's side, pull it apart. You know, everything looks pretty much the same, kind of warm. You know, drum's good, pads are not completely worn out, so no metal contact. So I pop the pins and the springs that kind of, I call it, hold the shoes on. The whole thing shifts to the right, and the wheel cylinder pops completely out of the cylinder. I've never had that happen before. And so I get it all disassembled, and I'm looking, and pretty much this thing should have never popped out, but obviously there was something wrong with it, and it wasn't going to go back in. So my only choice was to replace it, place it, or get a rebuild kit. And I'm like, I don't really want to mess with rebuilding one of these. $30, run back to the parts store, another $30. And then I go home, put it together, bleed it out, and everything's, so far, knock on wood, has been good. No squeaks, no rattles, everything's been good. But I always make sure that all the points of contact have grease on them. I make sure to clean the parts before, during, and after I'm done, and I wipe the drums, wipe the pads, make sure that any grease because you're always going to get grease on that stuff, is clean so that I don't have issues. But so there was another $100 I threw down my wife's car. So I'm now $800 into her car in the past month, basically. So it's one of those things when you own a car, and the car is reaching almost 100,000 miles, so there are things that are going to go wrong with it. And I've kept most of the basic maintenance, the oil changes, the tune-ups, the air filters, and all that stuff has obviously all been kept up with. And, these are just the things that are starting to wear out. It's at that age. And like I said, about 6 months ago, I did the front pads. They were due, so I got it done. And I, like I said, I had the stuff to do the rears. I just didn't get around to doing it before it got cold. So, and I say that I'm beginning to think that car hates me. But go figure. So I guess McDonald's now has a new burger, and it's called the Grand Mac. I actually tried to go get one today, or earlier yesterday, today. But unfortunately, they didn't. Apparently, they ran out of the new buns. It's a new size. It's supposed to be a bigger Big Mac and whatnot. So I'm gonna try to get one, and if I do, I'm going to get a regular one. I'm going to get the new one and kind of compare the sizes and all that. I think it'd make kind of a cool video. But speaking of videos, like I mentioned last weekend, obviously I took my GoPro and took some video, pretty much the whole ride. I'm not going to do a specific video, just throw it on rides or whatever, but I might eventually do some compilation video and kind of throw it out there. But I'm gonna, I want to work on building some content. The month of May is going to be horrible. I've got some things I want to do. I already have the first couple of, obviously, my first list of cars that I want to review. So that's probably going to be in June. It's probably going to be the end of June before all that comes in. Obviously, I'll be doing a video of, both my niece's graduations. I don't know if I'll post that online. But I'll definitely be shooting lots of video, and now having GoPros, it's going to be a lot easier to get a lot of different shots. And that's kind of been my build up for the SD project and doing the car videos. I need to be able to do multiple angles and whatnot in one shot, so that I can blend all that video and audio together. And so I now have what I need for the most part. I am thinking about picking up, specifically for the graduation, I am thinking about picking up a microphone for the camcorder, just so I can get some good video. And so that stuff will be coming, and I apologize that I haven't really added a lot to that channel yet, but it's coming. So one last thing, I've mentioned a couple times that I play Arma 3, and it's a game that I fairly enjoy. Several of my friends, Doc and James, both play it with me, and my son now plays it with us. It's kind of interesting. We got into a bit of a pissing match with another group, and it got bad. Literally, we were nonstop. It was almost nonstop attacking each other, from the moment one of us logged on until the time one of us logged off. Now, admittedly, yes, we were purposely attacking them in the beginning, but that had to do with the fact that that other team was being dickheads to everybody, and not just us. It was being that way to everybody on the server. And I really just drives me nuts because these guys literally will skirt the edge of the rules. They built like 3 bases on the edge of Trader, which is the only major hub to purchase items, trucks, things like that. And they basically would set in their base and go, and they have a perfect view of Trader, and they would just wait for us to get outside that line. They know exactly where the Trader safe zone ends, and they'd shoot us out of the sky or shoot us out off the ground whenever we had trucks running. And to be honest, a bunch of us was just fed up with it. And like I said, it got into a pretty big pissing match back and forth. And Doc has temporarily brokered a truce with that team, but we'll see how long that lasts. I'm kind of hoping some things might happen, though, obviously we're not going to instigate it, but we're kind of expecting them to instigate some problems. And I'm hoping to get some video of it, and I might show it on the channel. It'd be kind of fun. At least right now, that's pretty much all I have. I have mentioned that I've been working on around the house, and I'm actually going to take the camera and kind of show what I've been working on the outside of the house. Just it's a lot of basic stuff, but stuff that would be interesting to watch. I did get an accessory kit for my GoPro, so now I have like the helmet cam and I have the chest cam, and so I've got lots of great ways to take more video without being too, well, I won't say it'd still be obvious, but easier to take video. So if we go to the zoo and all that, I can take some great video, just having it all hooked up and be able to, just like I said, get some great video. But for now, this is going to be the vlog for this week. I will obviously, next week will be a very important one. I'll talk about the whole thing with my one niece. And as long as we get custody of her as of Monday, unfortunately, the game room is going to be dismantled. Some of that will be moved to my bedroom. Some of it will be moved to another room. And we'll be working on back and forth, trying to figure out how we want to rearrange all that stuff. So, and we knew that was a possibility, but unfortunately, I was already knee deep in, in putting that room together when that kind of happened. So, like I said, as long as everything goes right on Monday, we're gonna start prepping that for her to use as a bedroom. So, it kind of sucks, but it's something that we need to do. I'm not really bitching about it. Just bitching that I have to move all that crap. So anyway, I'll do one final video of what the room looks like and where it was at, and then and who knows, maybe I'll do some video of me tearing it down and moving it. So for now, that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a great day, has a great week, and I will catch you later.